Hi everyone, it's Gráinne in Solid Solutions here again. Just going to show you some what's new in SolidWorks 2015. So in this segment we're going to show you the new chain component pattern, the new functionalities with surfaces, and we can now flatten a surface. And we're also going to show you some new things in consumer product design like asymmetric fillets. So first off, let's talk about the new chain component pattern. So now we can do a whole chain, like a bicycle chain within SolidWorks. We've three different options. We've distance patterning, distance linkage and connected linkage. I'm going to show you how to do all three, and I'll just bring you over into SolidWorks and show you some examples as well. So here we have an example already done for us, and we've got a chain linkage the whole way around. And you can see it's interacting with our gears here. In this assembly, we're going to add on our own chain component pattern. It's extremely simple to do. As you can see, we just have parts in here. We have a sketch also. So first thing I'm going to do is go into my linear component pattern. Let's drop down the menu and select chain component pattern. In here you can see your different options. We have the distance, we have distance linkage, and we have connected linkage. We can select our chain path, and it also includes a handy selection manager to prevent you from having to right click. So we have our sketch selected as our chain path. We're going to fill the path for now, and this is the part I want to fill it with. It asks me for a path link, so a cylindrical face or circular edge, or some kind of reference to go along the path. And it also asks you for a location plane. So you can just select the location plane from your part, and you can see it's already filled on my sketch. So we can even move this along and we can move it around the sketch, but you can see it's a bit funny, it's a bit all over the place. Let's go back in and change the chain pattern options. So like same as any other one, you can just right click and edit the feature. Let's go for distance linkage this time. It asked me for another path link, so it's looking for two different path links now. And we can just throw in our own number. So now our links are reacting the way we want them to. However, we want a connected linkage. Let's go back in again, edit the chain pattern, go for connected linkage. We can define how many we need. Everything else is already picked up from our previous options, and I can click OK. I can even do things like float my sketch and float my parts to make sure everything goes in place. First thing I'm going to do is just mate our parts together. Quick rebuild will get it all back in place. Let's use a smart mate. Let's use Alt drag and put a mate between these two parts. There we go. Now let's float our two options here. So our change sketch we're going to float, and our mounting bracket. They were fixed in place. And now when I drag my chain, follows the sketch. It won't go past the sketch, but it will react with it. So that's our chain component. So you can find that in the assembly under linear component. You can also create them in context in an assembly, like this one. So we have our regular one here. So we have our chain that can move. That's the one we just created. And up the top here we also have another one. This one's slightly different. The reason this one's slightly different is because it's built in context. So you can see if I move this part, it just needs a quick rebuild. Move the chain with it. And that's our new chain component pattern. Next I'm going to show you some new things in consumer product design with surfaces. So we're going to look at the new flatten surface function. We're going to look at exporting to the DXF. We're also going to have a look at converting a spline to a style spline. So last year in 2014 we brought in a style spline, and now you can convert an old spline into a new one and define how many points is on it. We can also split surfaces into bodies now, just using a sketch. And we can also use better improvements with the spline on a surface across multiple surfaces, giving us more accurate results. So I'm going to bring you back over into SolidWorks and show you exactly how it's done. Okay, so here we are in SolidWorks. And what I'm going to do first off is show you how to change a style spline to a spline and vice versa. Let's have a look at this sketch. On the end here we have a style spline. If I right click on our style spline, there's an option to convert to a regular spline. If I right click and convert to spline, it's okay, it's just telling me it's going to be an approximation. It creates all our handles and all our points. If I again right click and try go the other way, back to a style spline, yeah, that's perfect. We can define how many points we want on it. Click OK, and of course we can do all the necessary things we want to do with spline with that. So previously we couldn't split surfaces into different bodies. Now we can. We can use our whole sketch here to cut my entire part. Let's keep all these bodies. And we can even isolate ones now as well. We're going to pick our toe piece and isolate it. So using our toe piece, we're going to draw a spline on a surface. We're going to go across multiple surfaces. So we can go from this face all the way over to different faces with no problem. We can even come back onto a third surface, or fourth or fifth. Let's go back and do another style spline, spline on a surface, similar to the one we just did. Again, cross different sections using different options. Perfect. What we can also do now is trim using our sketch. So let's trim our surface using that sketch I just selected. There we go. And what we're going to do now is flatten this surface. So surface flatten isn't a default option, so just make sure you pull it out from your search commands option and just pull it onto your toolbar. It's really simple to use. You literally just have to select the bodies you want to flatten, or the surfaces you want to flatten. You can even box select them. Just make sure every one of them is included. Okay, so I'm happy enough with that. We can also add in a vertex or point to flatten from. This is going to be our point here. And I can also add in control curves. You even get a quick default little preview there. And when I try my control curves, again, of course, it will change our preview. So that flattened surface is now there. And if I right click, I can even export to DXF, which is extremely useful. Let's just bring in that face. And there we go, there's our DXF. Okay, so let's cover a few more things in this little tutorial. So what I'm going to show you next is our new asymmetric fillets. We can now do open profile cuts. So if you have an open contoured sketch, you can now select the contours and cut from there. We also have curvature analysis included on many of our new features, our previous features. And there's also a new option to create a plane normal to the screen, and also photo view 360 render region is now included. Again, I'll show you exactly how to use all of these functions. So here we have a part, and the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to do an asymmetric fillet. So in SolidWorks 2015, there's now options in the fillet parameters to just drop down and select asymmetric. Of course, it gives you some more control over everything within your fillet, much like last year with the conic fillets. So if I drop it down like that, you can see the more control I have over it, the more powerful the fillet function becomes. So there's our fillet edited. Next thing we're going to have a look at is the open profile cut. So I have a sketch drawn here previously, and I want to cut down through. Previously, when I had this kind of sketch done, I could only have cut through all in either direction using all the contours or using a thin extrude. Now if I go to an extruded cut, I can actually select the contours of my sketch. That couldn't previously be done before, especially when there's no actual sketch there. It's just picking up the sides of the profile that the sketch is on. It's a new pretty powerful function in there as well. Curvature analysis is now in many of the features in SolidWorks. It's now down the very bottom of the options, so you can go to curvature display. You can throw on zebra stripes or curvature combs. Your curvature combs can be played around with to make sure it's the way you want it to look and make sure it's reacting the way you want it to be. So of course we can change the sizes, the density of the mesh, and of course you can bring down the scale to see exactly how it's reacting. This next one we're going to do is for a new plane function. So if we go into our reference geometry, into our plane options, once we select a point, we get an option over on our left hand side to create a plane parallel to the screen. So there we go, there's our plane selected. A lot of people are asking, what's the point in this? Well, if you do a section view with that plane, and then go back into the plane you created, so plane 24 here, let's go back and edit. Let's move for a second, and then update our plane. It comes with us the whole way, and we can see directly into our part at whatever angle we wish. It's kind of a nice, cool one that they put in there this year. And finally, let's have a look at our SolidWorks PhotoView 360 Render Region tool. The Render Region tool is pretty powerful. It means that you can just render a region of your part rather than the whole part and wait for a long time for it to render. So you can see, if I move my part, it will also render in the selected region. I can move my region to anywhere on my part. I can make it bigger or smaller, or decide what kind of a chunk I want to take out of it. So it shows you a quick rendered region without having to do a full final render. So that's all for this tutorial, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if there's any tutorials you'd like to see on our YouTube channel or on our Vimeo channel. Don't forget to also follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Google+, and on Twitter. We're also please subscribe to our YouTube channel and let us know if there's anything else we can do. Thanks for listening.